Morning everyone, just a quick summary of what it is we're going to be watching on this update. So we all know last week, terrible temperatures, well for the last 2 weeks really, it was getting down to -8 on a night. We had snow, heavy ice. With that in mind, I chose to knock off the filtration system on the back. So the back filters were off, waterfall was off, back shower off, and only run air stone in the pond for 3 nights. So doing this was beneficial, I believe, in some way to me, because the pond only went down to about 3.5 degrees temperature when it was at -8 outside. Had I been running the waterfall and the back filters exposed out of the ground, I'm sure it would have went down a lot further from what I've seen of other people's. Some people, pond temperatures getting down to 1 and below, which I wasn't comfortable with. So that's why we did that. But what you're going to see is me last Sunday when I had to get everything up and running again before I went to work, because it was supposed to be good temperatures that week and I wanted the filters back on and hopefully everything runs sweet. But as always, there's always a problem with koi ponds. We had our own up here, and that's what you're about to see. So enjoy. Morning everyone. Well, welcome back to an episode of the fridge up north. So I was going to show you the temperature, but the thermometer has give up. It's lost the actual piece with the mercury in. The glue's just come off, so that's no good. Then I've realised my hose pipe, a stupidly rookie mistake, left water in it, so that's also froze up. So we're going to get that thawed out somehow. Right, so I've just laid that hose pipe on top of the barbecue for a bit in some sunlight, so hopefully that'll help thaw that out, because I might need it later. I was going to show you the pond temperature. The batteries died in the auto feeder with the cold, so I've got that propped up there, ready to get a bit of sunlight, charge the battery a bit. So we're not off to a good start. So what I want to do, it's now Sunday the 12th. I'm back to work tomorrow. Obviously I knocked the system off on Wednesday night, so it's had Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Yeah, so the 4 nights it's been off now, but it's due to get better next week, Monday. So I want it back on again because I'm working away from home, so I need it running again when I'm not here. And today is the only day I've got to get it running again and make sure everything's alright. Right, just coming up 11:30, so we know that's the prime time when the sun hits the filter shed, so that should help us a little bit. We know it can get up to 5 degrees in there when it's 0 outside. We'll put a bit of charge back into the auto feeder so we can check the temperature today. .7. I fixed the clock as well. Oh, actually I haven't fixed the clock, have I? It's still an hour out. Never mind. The problem we're going to have is when I switched everything off, because I was panicking about super cool, the water with the waterfall running, all the standing water in the system, so it'll be what's standing in the filter hut, in the nexus, in the vat, the standing water in the back of the river, and the standing water in the waterfall. all this is going to be a lot colder, I'm guessing, than the pond water. So I've just dug out, well, so unscrewed the lid, as you see, polycarb lid, took the other cover off that's normally on, and had to chip away a bit of ice on top of the water there. So we'll get a bit of that water and we'll just take a reading of how cold that is going back into the pond. Right, I've just took a pint full of that out of there. I'll just carefully go back over to my water feeder. There for now. It's going to be a bit tricky, but I really must get some better thermometers for reading the water temperature than relying on this all the time. I just find this probe. So it was 3.7 this morning. Let's put that in there. Just give it a minute. I'll check what the difference is between the pond and the water that was held up in the filters. Two 2.2, 2.1, 2, so it is dropping. Is it going to level off at that? No, still continuing. 1.7 now. So it just shows you the heat off the ground 6 foot down, and then obviously the way my pond's wrapped in an embankment, so you've got about 8 foot of earth at the back of the pond. That it does a better job of slowly releasing that heat from the ground into the water. Right, so let's say the water held up in the system at the back there is going to be about 1.5. So I don't want to hoy all that cold water because there's quite a lot into the pond. So what I'm going to do, I've chucked a little old aquarium heater just in the pipework down there, you can see it. So we're going to leave that on for a bit, try and take some of the chill out of it. But obviously that's too small and not big enough. So also I do have an old 3 kilowatt electric heater that is just too pricey to run non-stop. But it'll heat this up in here. So it's currently dangling in down there, you can just see it. It's currently at 4.4. So I'm going to heat all that up to see what, in the next hour or so, see what the best temperature I can get it to before I send it all back to the pond, hopefully this afternoon. And that should take the shock out of the water that could potentially harm the fish if I was to dump all this cold water in there too soon. Let's just get that little door shut again. Every little helps. And yeah, dealing with these temperatures. Right, so say it's optimal time to try and put a bit of heat back in the water. Sun shining on that. Hello. Well, just back from my Sunday dinner. we're going to go and see now what heat we've managed to put back in the filter systems, so we're not hiding freezing cold water back straight in the pond. So we'll spin round and have a check of that. I've been away for about 2 hours since I last talked to you, so that's hopefully enough time to put a bit of heat back in that water. Right, first of all, let's just check what temperature the waterfall got with the smaller heater. Just grab the glass. Right, I'm not going to be able to hold you and do this, but I'll put you down a minute. Right, so that's that. When we first checked this, it was down to 1.5. So let's see if this has helped at all. That's done quite well actually. It's only heating a small area like. And there's a lot more cold water held up under the decking. Just let that steady off. I don't think it's going to go much more than that, so we'll just say wetting that up to 7.5. Right. And we'll go and take a quick look inside the filter hut, see what the 3 kilowatt heater managed to get the water in the vat up to, because that's the majority of water that's going to be sent back to the pond. .9, 69. So what we're going to do now is go and check the pump, start pumping the water back up from the bottom through this big nexus, which then goes to the small nexus. Take that warmer water out of here, send it underneath the decking, so hopefully we're not going to shock the fish with what we could have done if we sent all that freezing cold water at 1.5 back to the pond. Right, so we're just hoping here that the bloody pump hasn't froze up. So I'll give it a quick try, knock it on. Yeah, you guessed it, iced up. I've just spent the last 2 hours with the steamer, the old wallpaper steamer. The only thing I had to get some heat to it, to defrost the pipe that was going to it. I'll give you a quick spin around and try and show you. So, steamer. So even though I had the pump wrapped and all this thermal pipework lagging, it still managed to ice up. So, but that wasn't even the worst of it. We got it uniced, pump started grafting, only to find that a section of pipework that used to go to the upflow filter had water trapped in it, and it cracked. So I'll show you this better the next day when it's light. But just down there, there's just enough ice to cause it to split. You can just see the split there. So when we finally got the pump going again, knocked it on, it was squirting out in that corner around there. So luckily, temporary fix. Hey, don't you love these dark nights? So yeah, we've had to remove that section that used to go in there, and I had a rubber boot, which I'm not going to take the lagging back off because I just put it back on, but you can guess what I've done. I had to put a rubber boot on there to get the system grafting again. But our sort of experiment with the heating the water first before sending it back worked. The pond hasn't reduced. Take a quick look at that. So 3.9, 3.7 this morning, 3.9. No big change there, nothing to shock them. Okay, so the morning after the chaos we had last night trying to fix that split pipe in the dark, obviously this was the culprit. It's melted now where it caused that to split. Again, that was the crack it caused. So there's just enough water held up in there with that tap being shut, and that's what's done it. So that's going to be the fix come spring. As you can see, it's getting softer, but it's still here. It hasn't melted off totally yet. I'll just check on. So a rubber boot we put on here. All seems good. No sign of it leaking. So I'm happy with just to leave that for now. I'll cover it back up. Let's just check what's happened. Obviously the water falls and the back filter's been running overnight now. See what's happening with the temperature. Four degrees, so it's on the rise, warming up again. Right, I've got to get myself off to work now, so I won't be back till Friday, and hopefully when I come back all this is gone. Well, work's over for the week. I almost got me wish, but there's still a little bit left. But compared to what we had, we'll take that. Very frosty start this morning again, as you can just see up on the grass at the back. Also, I did leave a towel on there actually. It's obviously fell off. Look at this. That's frozen. It's just an old garden towel I use for around the pond and stuff, so I'm not that bothered about it. I can't actually show you the temperature because I still need to replace this, but we're guessing we're around 0 or just below. Right, today the drum filter, I don't know if I explained last time, but actually the drum filter stopped working because the feed for it is in here. And what happened when I investigated last week, but it was in the dark, so the pipe that feeds it burst, so that needs sorting out, so we'll do that today. We'll have to check that the line is actually alright going to the drum filter, which is under that table, and we'll get the filters the filters are working, we'll get the filters cleaned out, and that'll keep us busy for the day. Let's just take a quick look at the pond temperature since we've come back. .9. I think it was a bit higher than that through the week, but it's been another frosty morning, so it's gone down probably a little, but it's still rising from what we've had. Now I showed you this pipe work that froze up. It had me baffled. So, but then I've finally realised what's happened with it. Obviously it had ice in it, we know that, but I've knocked this off before in the past and it's never done this. But what we did, so before we knocked everything off, I did isolate the run that goes up to the backy shower. Let's orientate this right so we can see what's going on. So it used to go like this. Yep. So with this tap closed, water would just go to the nexus. But when I've closed that tap, this was a week or so before I knocked everything off, the water that was in there, I obviously drained it out, but there was just enough residual water that must have been dripping from the media that gathered in the top of this ball valve. And it, I mean, you're talking an inch, and that's all it took. So it was that water that when we looked in the top of there and the top of that ball valve, when that valve was closed, that was the exposed water that froze up and unfortunately ruined this whole bit of pipe setup I had. So unfortunately that's going to have to be, I'm going to try and save some of it actually, because them 2-inch ball valves aren't cheap. So we'll see what we can put back together in come spring. But now I know what's happened. Me closing that off, just not to isolate the upflow and the backy shower. Water's just dripped down, held in the top of there, an inch of water, froze up and ruined the whole thing. Right, finally some good news. We've got water feed sorted for the drum filter, so easy enough. Just had to snip off the old busted bit of pipe, reattach to the connection, and what we've also done is made some improvements on this. So now we've got a double layer of insulation on there, so it's a lot deeper packed out. So hopefully that'll come handy next time we get a cold snap. So we'll just put them back in there. They can close over. It's easy with two ones. There we go. So that should be nice and secure now. So that's working again. Champion. So that just leaves me now to go and clean the filters, but we're not going to go and video that because it's a bit boring, to be honest. I'll just get this drum filter covered back up. There we are. That slides over there, lovely in that ice. It's good for summer. Quick check on the fish, see if we can see them through the top. Yep, there's a few of them on the move. Still got a couple sit on the bottom, but it is only 5 degrees. Hopefully not long now, and things will improve. Well, I hope that was of some interest to some of you, following water temperatures and seeing how we deal with the cold weather up here. As always, thanks for popping by and seeing how I'm getting on, and until there's something better to report, hopefully with a bit of sunshine and a beer in my hand, I'll leave that one there. Bye now.